Shout out to Ed_R3 on Twitter. He sent me this video and I wouldn't cut it up. This is Kyke Van Noy of the Baltimore Ravens talking about the victory over the San Francisco 49ers. And what he says here is very, very interesting. Let's watch it and then break it down.
Ravens versus Niners, what a game. But did we give the blueprint? Did we give the blueprint for the rest of the NFL? I think we did. I think everybody's going to write their notes down. I think D coordinators, people around the league are going to see what we just did to the Niners. And I think it's the blueprint. Just like what Nick Bosa talked about the Eagles, we just gave it to the rest of the NFL. Right back at you, my guy.
So Kyke Van Noy thinks that the Ravens gave the blueprint. And I don't necessarily disagree with him, but I think there is a problem with said blueprint. So when I look across the NFC, I don't think that the Ravens blueprint changed anything as far as what the 49ers are going to do in the NFC. I think there are only two teams that have the actual players to get it done in the NFC and do what the Ravens did. One of them, oddly enough, I still think is Seattle, and one of them is Dallas. The problem for both of those teams is schematically, I don't think they have what it takes to actually get it done. Now, maybe Dallas. Dallas possibly, I think, could put it together. Dallas is interesting because they play primarily man coverage. This last week against the Dolphins, they completely switched it up and went zone because they knew that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle had speed to bird them and mad. So the fact that they were able to switch up their basic whole identity going into that game with the Dolphins, that tells me maybe they can deploy a similar game plan to the Ravens and maybe give the 49ers a little bit of troubles. When I look at Seattle, schematically, they are the most boring defense in the world. I think they are poorly coached, and I don't think that their coaching staff will adjust enough to give the 49ers fits, even though I think they have the personnel to potentially do it. So that being said, giving the blueprint is one thing, but can you execute the blueprint? The only team that I give a realistic chance of possibly doing that is Dallas in the NFC, and I just don't think they will either. I think the 49ers are fit to run through the NFC as long as they get that bye week. But here's where it gets interesting. Once you get to the Super Bowl, you might have to play the Ravens again. They feel like they have the blueprint. Okay, we know that they can do some things. I believe that they can deploy that again and give the 49ers troubles, definitely. But I think there are other teams that can deploy that a little bit and give the 49ers troubles. I think that Cleveland, certainly who we saw, already give the 49ers troubles. They can do that. They are very beat up, though. They have 3 of their 5 offensive linemen out for the season. I don't think Cleveland's going to make it. But interestingly enough, I do think there is one other team that defensively can do what the Ravens did and give the 49ers troubles. And that is the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs are not a great offense this year, believe it or not, with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid at the helm. But defensively, they are fantastic. They have 2 very good linebackers. They have a great secondary and good pass rushers. They're a team that I think can execute on that game plan. So the 49ers, I think, are going to make it to the Super Bowl as long as they get that bye week. But once they get there, depending on who they play, things get very, very interesting for them. And I think watching them lose to the Ravens opens up the possibilities for people that are not fans of the 49ers to get excited about what could potentially happen. Because let's just be fair. If the 49ers had won that game and won it going away, pretty much everybody would think the 49ers were going to win the Super Bowl, and the interest wouldn't be there. Now the interest is back. People are excited. 49er fans, I don't think you should worry too much. Obviously, the 49ers are clearly the best team in the NFC, and they only have to win one game against the AFC. If they were in the AFC going through that gauntlet to get to the Super Bowl, maybe not so confident. But because they only have to beat one team one time on a neutral field, I feel pretty good about those odds. But whoever comes out of the AFC is going to give the 49ers a lot of problems, and I think it's going to be super interesting. And I do believe that Van Noy and the Ravens gave a bit of a blueprint. The question is, who can execute it? And I think the answer is not many. And that's a good thing for the San Francisco 49ers.